and Happy New Year to everyone from Diamond Tea Farms. It's been a while since I've made any podcast. We've had some recent loss in our family, and thank you to those who have checked on us with the loss of our daughter-in-law, and we're doing fine as a family, doing what we need to do. I have been sick my own self, so if I don't particularly look like myself, that may be why. But I felt well enough to do this today, and my son's been nagging at me to do one about our steak rub, so I wanted to do that today while I feel well enough to do it. So what I'm going to be showing you today is just a steak rub that I use for our steaks here at Diamond Tea Farm. I will be cooking for my family, so I know a little bit about their palates of what they like and what they don't like. So my seasoning will be geared to them. You can not always know the person who's going to put that bite in their mouth, but in this case I'm lucky enough to know. Other times you have to be more generic with your seasoning, but this time I know where my meat's going and in whose mouth it's going. So my son and his family prefer a little bit of a lot of spice and a little bit of heat, not to overpower the flavor of the meat, just to give them a firework explosion of when they put that meat in their mouth and take that first chomp down on. While our meat can stand alone, if I only did salt and pepper and did these steaks as you're going to watch me do them later on tonight when I sear them begin to cook them, it would be just fine if I didn't do anything but salt and pepper. So if you have to go very generic and just do a salt and pepper, don't be afraid of that. What I'm going to do behind us is just open my cabinets, and I'm going to let you watch me pick and choose as I make my rub. Remember, my son's family likes a Louisiana twist, and they like a lot of flavor, and they like a lot of heat. So, I mean, not burning heat, but just flavorful. So, I'm going to gear that towards them. And like I said, I'm just going to open my cabinets. First thing I'm going to do is pull out salt and pepper. The basic of anything you do. If you do not have it salted right, if you do not have it peppered right, it's not going to matter what else you add into it. It's not going to be balanced. Okay? I don't use a lot of teaspoons and a lot of measuring in this. It's more because what I'm going to put is just into a plastic bowl, and what I don't use of the rub, I'm going to use at a later time anyway. So it really doesn't have to be measured and precise in what I'm going to show you. Okay? So I'm just going to start with a couple turns of salt. Okay? Pepper. Same way. I'm not going to really get my hands into it yet because I have a lot more to add. I will try and keep it from being so cluttered. Okay. I'm going to pull out some onion powder. These are just spices that I have in the cabinet. I'm sure they're in your cabinet as well. It's nothing special, nothing gourmet or special order. These are just regular spices that you get from the grocery store. Nothing special about them. I like a little fine pink Himalayan sea salt. It seems to have a little bit of saltier of a taste, and I just prefer it. Soul seasoning. Remember, my son and his family like flavor. They like a spice, and they like a little bit of heat. This is a generic Markham, like a dash seasoning, which gives me a lot of flavor, but it doesn't give me a lot of salt. Okay? And I'm just looking. There's a hint of garlic salt with my onion powder. And then this little baby has been a friend of us ever since we bought our smoker and began to smoke meat. This is Rub Me Some Butt. And it is excellent on beef. It is excellent on pork. It is a dry mustard flavoring, and it just works really well with a lot of different things. So, I'm just going to get the tops off everything real quick. Give me just a minute so you can watch me add. Okay. Starting with the onion powder first. And you want a good base. Okay? And I'm just eyeballing. I just want to be sure that there's enough quantity in there and that it's going to come together with my other spices. Okay? Rub some butt. And you can see the onionness and the red peppers that are in this. And like I said, this is just a shake thing. Then my pink Himalayan sea salt, and remember, you don't need much. But look how pretty that looks with the crystals of the salt. Like I said, you just bounce it around. I really don't want my hands in there yet. I won't put my hands in it until I actually start, using it to season my steaks. Garlic salt has a little bit of condensation at the top of it. Okay. I'm just going to add a little bit of pepper, black pepper in there, because it's just not suiting my eye as I bump it. Okay, and you can see the different seasonings. See the red pepper floating on top? You can see the different seasonings as they all come together in the rub. And this is just going to be done with my hand, and I'm just going to finally sprinkle it over our steaks, and they're going to sit at least an hour with this on them before I begin to cook them and sear them. Again, Happy New Year from Diamond T Farms. Thank you for all your love and support, and I'll be back later and show you how to sear some steaks. Hello again. I'm Sheila Turner from Diamond T Farms. What I'm going to do today is talk to you a little bit about our steaks. We've been really excited about our steaks. We kind of tended to go through them a little quickly, but they're so good. I'm going to show you how to put the steak rub on it, and I'm going to talk to you a little bit about our meat and what it looks like before you begin to season it and as you begin to work with it. I'm talking really quickly because I've gotten them out of the fridge and I put them on a platter, and they're already beginning to sweat, just coming into room temperature. But that's good. That's what you want. I have a plate of T-bone steaks to my left. I have a plate of ribeyes to my right. So we're going to begin to season them. I'm going to bring the ribeyes up into your view a little bit clearer. And this is a ribeye steak. You can see the marbling and the fat in the steak. Now, yes, I would be able to go ahead and trim some of this fat off. Same thing on the back of this steak. There's fat that I could take a knife and trim off. I don't want to do that. A lot of my flavor is there in the marbling and in the fat content of your meat. If it looks unappeasing once you get it cooked and that piece of fat is just kind of flapping around, you can always take a knife and make it go away. So that's our ribeye steaks. Let me bring the T-bones into view a little bit better so you can see them. Those are the T-bones, okay? And of course there is a bone, for you to see, hence the word T-bone. Same beautiful marbling you see going on in the steak, the same fat insulator on the outside of the meat to give you a lot of moisture, to give you a lot of flavor, and to give you a lot of tenderness. Once again, if I were concerned about the way this steak looked, to another customer, I could go ahead and trim some of this fat off. I prefer to wait until I get through cooking the meat and see how the fat has cooked in the process and how much of it is actually left. If that doesn't suit me, or I think that it will not, suit the person that I'm cooking the steak for, I will go ahead and trim some of that fat off. Okay? Of course, remember, with your ribeyes, a lot of times in the retail market, on your ribeye, this ribeye has a bone in it, and which, if you think about it, rib eye, it would have to touch a bone somewhere. Most of the time in the commercial retail market, this bone has been removed from your ribeye. It is there, but you never see it. If it were a person that I thought was going to be, maybe not wanting to see that bone in their ribeye, I would go ahead again and cook with it for the flavor, and then when the meat is done, I would remove it like they do in the commercial or the retail market. Okay, let's go ahead and start seasoning. And I had mixed this seasoning up earlier on another podcast, and I'm just going to put my hands into it. Sometimes you have to feel your meat, you have to feel what you're doing. So that's why I'm going to start the way I'm starting. And I'm just going to pinch. Now this meat is going to really begin to sweat once the rest of the salt and the seasonings come together. But as you can see, it's done a pretty good job sweating just as I brought it to room temperature out of the fridge. Okay? And it is a dry rub. You are going to need to rub it and kind of pat it into your meat. There's no particular amount. You're just going to cover it up. You're just going to cover your meat in your rub. Because this is going to sit on the outside of your meat. Our meat is already tender on the inside once it's cooked. So I'm not going to have to worry about tenderness or necessarily a wet marinade going on our beef. Okay, I'm just going to flip these beautiful ribeyes over and begin to season the other side. And you can, again, see the fat. I'm going to season fat and meat alike. You don't have to be real perfect with it. There is no set amount. Just get it on there. Let it begin to give that initial hint of flavor as you pop it in your mouth before that actual little pepper flake that I want in there. Remember, this steak rub, you're going to see a lot of pepper and a little spice in it because I am cooking for my family tonight. I'm cooking for my son and his family. Okay. Well, I'm just about out of my rub. That's a good seasoning. I'm going to flip these T-bones over. Once again, I don't want to remove this fat insulator. I don't want to remove that. I want that flavor, that moisture, and that tenderness in my beef. But once again, and sometimes after I get it seasoned up, you can see the marbling a little bit better. You can see those runs of marbling and fat that extend throughout the meat. That gives you an excellent flavor, and it gives you an excellent tenderness to your steak. Okay, we're going to let these babies season up. And I don't know if I'll do another podcast when I begin to sear them or not. Tech guy says saying yeah, that I will. So that's okay. I can let you watch them, cook in the pan and then go into the oven. Most of the time that'll be how I do our beef. I will sear it, and then depending on your preference, whether you are a rare person or whether you're a well-oven person. Being that it's wintertime, I don't have the opportunity to go outside to the grill, so I will be using an oven, to cook them. All right, see you in a little bit. Thank you so much from Diamond T Farms. And welcome back to Diamond T Farms. I'm Sheila, and this is a continuation of podcast to show you how our steaks look after they're seasoned, before I sear them and start them to cook. These are 1-inch cut steaks. These are the ribeyes that you saw. Ribeye, T-bone, T-bone. Okay? These were smoked in our smoker for about 40 minutes at 225 with some oak, wood, and hickory seasoning. My husband is telling me no, it was primarily hickory seasoning in with them. You can hickory smoked. Sorry, did I say it correctly? Okay, hickory smoked for 40 minutes at 225 temperature. So these steaks are in no way done. Okay, now I could probably eat them, but I like a very, very rare type of meat. Other people do not. I will be cooking all 4 of these steaks to a medium. I wouldn't say medium well, I wouldn't say medium rare, just a general medium. Because it's wintertime and I don't have the luxury of going outside to my grill, I put my smoke on first in the smoker. The T-bones lost a little bit of their fat in the smoker, but that's fine. Because I want all 4 pieces medium, I am going to start with my heavier cuts first. I'm going to start with these ribeyes. And of course, I love my cast iron skillet. Okay? I've just got a little olive oil in here. And if you can kind of see, my skillet is a little smoky. That's what we want. We want to hear that sizzle when we pop them in. I'm using an electric stove on number 4. Okay? And I'm just going to get my ribeyes and begin to sear them. And yes, you want to hear that sizzle when I drop them in the pan. So there you go. That's what we want. We want to sear these steaks, and then they're going to have to go into the oven because I can't get outside and put them on a grill. It's really, really cold here in Tennessee. So, this is just my little gripper that goes on my cast iron skillet, so I won't burn my hand because I will reach up there and grab things when I'm not supposed to, knowing that they're going to burn me. In searing, you want to sear kind of quickly, but not too quickly. I don't want any of the seasoning on the outside of my steak to burn. Okay, so I guess I want to sear it. The object is not to cook the steak through and through. That's going to be finished to the specification of medium in the oven. Okay? Just a few minutes is all you need. I may scoot it around in my oil, but I'm just waiting just a minute before I turn it. And that's all that you have to do when you're searing a steak. Now, you can see the good caramelization that I've got when I turn that steak over. You can also hear the sear. When the naked part of the steak hit the pan, you can also hear that sear. All I want is a good sear to give me some brown marks before it goes into the oven. And like I said, don't get impatient with this process. Because if you turn the heat up much, your seasoning that's left in your pan before you put your other steaks in there is going to begin to char, and it will give you a burnt char taste to your steaks that you really don't want. I'm just looking. That's the other side. And the other side can stand to be brown just a little bit more. So I'm going to spin quickly and flip him back over. Make sure to spin in my pan. Make sure he's good and coated with olive oil. And that's the only thing that I had in this pan before I put my steak in there. So I'm just going to let him sear. You can't get impatient with this process. But remember, when you're done, they're going back into my pan and they're going in the oven to complete the cooking process. Thank you again from Diamond T Farms. Hi, it's Sheila again from Diamond T. I'm finishing up a series of podcasts that I've done about seasoning a steak and searing our steak. They have been seared in the cast iron skillet. I'm sure you've watched that part of it. They're just now coming out of the oven. I cooked them from approximately 12 minutes in a 350 because I'm only shooting for like a medium on them. I'm not shooting for a well done. If this were a well done, they would go back in the oven for another 15 to 20 minutes. I'm only shooting for a general medium cooking on all of them. But I want to show you how it's cooked up. Look at the steak. You can still see the seasoning on top of it. Awesome. Awesome marbling. And yeah, there will be some fat drippings in your pan, as you can see this, because we left a lot of the extra fat on this steak so that we would have that flavoring. You can see this fat here on this one. Sorry, let me hush my stove. You can see the fat on this steak. I had told you that you could remove it after you cooked, so that's only what I'm doing. I'm just removing it. Now, this first steak is going to go to my son, and I know that he is essentially a rare person. Well, he is a rare person, but those that know him are laughing right now because I said he was rare, because he is a rare kind of breed guy. But he also likes his steak rare. So, it gives me an opportunity to remove that extra fat and also to do something every good cook and every good chef should do if you're preparing meat for someone else. Put it in your mouth first. Okay? Can you see the color? Let me come into the light a little bit better, honey. You see the color of that? It is slightly pink. It is not anywhere near the redness that I would call a rare steak. It's not anywhere near that. It is slightly pink throughout, okay? But it gives me the opportunity to dress his steak up a little bit more, make it look a little bit better, and it also gives me the ability to be sure that it's cooked as it should have been, and it gives me the ability to put it in my mouth first instead of his. And if you're going to be any kind of significant chef or any kind of significant cook for other people, it needs to go here first. If it doesn't pass here, it's not going anywhere. Okay? Again, notice the color of this steak throughout. You're not going to see a pink rare. This is a medium steak. But no, also, you will not see like a well done. This steak is juicy. Can you see the juices still running out of my steak? A well-done steak will not do that. You cooked all the juices out of it during the cooking process. If I pick this steak up, I'm sorry, this bite has to go in my mouth. If I pick this steak up and let you see it, see how as I get towards the bone, the color changes? Here we have a medium. Here we have a slightly rare. This is really rare. But it's next to that bone, and I can't really do anything to that little portion right there without influencing the bigger portion of my steak. So even though that looks a little rare next to that bone, I'm happy with it. And I'm really happy with the flavor that's going on in my mouth right now. Thank you again for all your comments and support. From Sheila at Diamond Tea. Bye-bye for now.